Good morning, everybody, and welcome to my channel, The Main Ingredient. So, I was just having a conversation with my eldest, daughter, and I want to say something. This is to women, and women, tell your daughters, right? We have to teach our daughters emotional intelligence, right? Teach your daughters emotional intelligence. Women, seek out resources for emotional intelligence. And let me tell you why. Because my daughter, for example, she was in she's a high schooler, right? She's in high school, and for whatever reason she more often than not has these occurrences where her female peers always act like they feel some type of way about her. You know what I mean? They be looking at her a certain way. They be saying certain stuff about her on the sly, like under their breath, but they don't come to her if it's a real issue. You know what I'm saying? They kind of get in these little cliques, if you will, and, say little slick stuff. Say little slick stuff behind her back or loud enough for her to hear, but don't tell her nothing to her face. 1 minute they cool as he ha ha on some classmate interaction stuff, and then the next minute we cutting eyes and ooh, she this or she act like she that. Oh, she thinks she better than somebody. And my child don't even carry herself in a what most would call like stuck up. My child is not stuck up. I am not stuck up. The problem is women, as well as their daughters, are out here lacking in the emotional intelligence space. So whatever these young girls see in my daughter as far as how she maneuvers, how she carries herself, the way that she speaks on a matter, whether it's something that's academically the conversation is academically centered, or girls be talking about stuff. She get whiff of a certain situation regarding the teenagers, with how they're interacting with so-called girlfriends or even like their boyfriends. Should be like, why would you stand for something like that? Why would you put up with something like that? Or if she was your real friend, she wouldn't be making you feel XYZ. Have you given her the opportunity to correct her behavior that you say is offending you? Because you say this, and that she treating you a certain way with this other person. Did you give her an opportunity to be made aware and then to change her behavior? If the girl tell my daughter, well, yeah, I told her XYZ, but she keep doing it, she's like, well, then why is you hanging around letting her do you like that? I say, because you steady complaining about something that you say isn't cool, that doesn't make you feel good, and this person is steady doing. Why you hang around them? Like, move around, separate yourself. Or even in the space of, some of these young ladies are dating. If that's what you want to call it. They got their little boyfriend or whatever. They were like, oh, I went over to his house and he was all stuck in the game and act like I wasn't even there. And the only time he act like, I'm around is when he need me to get him a snack or something. And I'm just sitting up here like, I didn't come over here for this, but you stayed though. And some of y'all, the young ladies, have divulged information to my child that you not only stayed, but you played. Yeah, I ain't talking about that game no more. You understand what I'm saying? So your child out here going to visit her little boyfriend. He playing the game. I'm talking about he in that game, baby. I don't know what's in these games these days, but baby, they be in that. You stayed around, you mad about, oh, he put the game, we don't even be doing nothing, da. But then when he turned that game off and he turned on a new game and she be like, why you sit there and let it happen? Why you steady complaining? It can't be that much of a problem if you keep going to his house and that's what keep happening. And not only is he playing the game, sound like he playing with you too. Why can't somebody say that and it's not and that be exactly what it is? It's direct. It's the truth. If you don't like something, you have the power to control it. Do the opposite. Think about what's going on. Don't get mad at somebody who has enough sense to say, if that doesn't make me feel good, I'm no longer going to participate. If that no longer serves me, then I'm going to remove myself. Why I gotta be you stuck up? Why I gotta be you think you this and you that? Oh, you think you better than everybody? No, I just know what I want. I just know what I'm not going to tolerate. I taught my child, because of the things that I went through and the things that I no longer tolerate in friendships, family ships, and or relationships. I taught my child, hey, you teach a person how to treat you by what you tolerate. Period. You deserve what you tolerate. Period. It's really not that hard. Now, I understand that this language is not passed on a lot, if at all, in our community, or we receive this information late. I received this information after divorcing my husband, right? I didn't have this language. I promise you. I had some of these things in motion, but a lot of what I possessed was muffled because of the person that I was dealing with, the person that I was married to. So a lot of what was in me could not get out because I was dealing with somebody who was literally muffling. They were stifling me and prohibiting my growth, prohibiting me from showing up and being who I am. So once I realized this, I got information that just kind of came across my timeline. And then once it came across my timeline, I started looking it up. Then I started looking into these terms and what it meant and how to apply them with, videos and social media. Like we're Instagram all day, TikTok all day, Facebook, and what's all these other ones? YouTube even, for the stuff that we want, but we won't do the things that we need to do to grow as a person. And then when you see somebody else growing as a person, they have a certain set of skills or information. Instead of you being inspired by that and inquiring to get more so you understand, you want to cop out with the old, she thinks she better than everybody. Grow up. Grow up. Women, grow up. Teach your daughters to grow up, mature. Okay? What they used to say when I was growing up, they say, act your age and not your shoe size. Okay? Can we act our age and not our shoe size? Stop being comfortable and complacent. And then when you get around somebody who don't just be talking just to talk, but they literally stand on what they're saying. My daughter stands on what she say. She not just one of them people that say stuff because it sound good to get everybody up. Yeah, girl, yeah. No, we don't do that over here. My daughter has been taught to stand on your standards, your morals, because that's how you treat people. That's how you teach people how to treat you. If you let people play with you, don't get mad. You allowed it. Get mad at yourself. Learn emotional intelligence. Stop saying stuff to people like a teacher. She went to a teacher and she was discussing this interaction, this indirect interaction that took place with these females. I guess they was feeling some type of way. But if you had a real problem, if you really had a real problem with my child, or you had a real problem with that adult woman, you would be an adult enough to go approach them directly and confidentially amongst you two and get an understanding. right? Figure out what the problem is. If there's a problem, you go to that person directly, and you say what you got to say so that everybody get an understanding. But when you snickering and hee ha ha and doing all this other stuff with a group of other people, no less, and you don't approach me for real, like as an individual, and let me know what's going on, if there's something to talk about, you weak. That's weak. And you're the one with the problem. So she's talking to this teacher about the experience that happened. And the teacher's like, well, oh, you don't understand how intimidating you are. And she's like, I'm not intimidating. I'm just me. She's like, the way that you move and the way that you carry yourself and even the passion in which you articulate on matters, it's intimidating. That's weak too. Let me tell you why that's weak. How you gonna tell somebody that the way that they carry themselves is intimidating? The problem is that it's not that my child is intimidating. The problem is not that I'm intimidating. The problem is you have a deficiency and or an insecurity in yourself. And if you would focus on building yourself in said area or areas, you wouldn't have to worry about nobody around you, I guess, looking a certain way that bothers you. How you bothered by somebody else that's minding their own business? And that's supposed to be intimidating. That's weak sauce. I don't want to hear that. And the funny thing to me about what the teacher said to my daughter, I said, she how old? You that old? What these children say? My baby say, at your big age, your adult self went and told my child that the way that you carry yourself and how you move and the way that you articulate is intimidating. And try again. That's weak sauce. We all have insecurities. I have insecurities. I have deficiencies. My daughter have insecurities. She have deficiencies. But that don't get her the right to go in school and making that nobody else's problem. That don't give me the right to go around operating in the world making it other people's problem. Work on yourself. Because if you was working on yourself, then you wouldn't have time to notice nobody else. And you dang sure wouldn't have time to be feeling some type of way about the way somebody is operating and who they are. And it's not against you. It's not against you. How I carry myself ain't got nothing to do with you. But if you find yourself like, man, she operate with a certain grace or class or confidence, how she do that? Be woman enough, be mature enough, and ask. Have a conversation. Don't be so intimidated and or secure. Now you making your shortcoming somebody else's problem. That's a you problem, baby. That's a you problem. Go fix yourself. Go somewhere and grow up. Go somewhere and get some necessary resources. And if those resources are readily available in the space in which you inhabit, whether that's your household, you ain't getting this kind of information from, people that you close to, seek it out yourself. Because y'all will hurry up and seek out that iPhone, that new iPhone that's coming out. Y'all will hurry up and seek out that Shein and that Temu. Oh, this coming up and that's coming up. You'll do the research for the stuff that don't mean nothing, the surface stuff. But when it come to doing the work, oh, ain't nobody got time to do no work. But you want to project onto others when they are around you, and instead of doing right, you make your shortcomings and your little feelings, your little emotions, somebody else's problem. No, that's weak sauce. Go sit down somewhere and read a book on how to better yourself and focus on yourself. Focus on your growth. Focus on how you can show up better. And don't be intimidated and make it somebody else's problem. Go work on yourself. That's easy. My daughter have worked on herself. She wasn't always where she at. She went through some things through. She came through some things as well, right alongside me. And as I learned, I gave that information to my child, and we have conversations all the time about this type of stuff. Do yourself and your daughters a favor. Sit down and talk to them. Because they going to school, baby, they going to school just, they're messy. And guess what? Guess where them kids getting it from? You 16, 15, 17. Baby, you ain't coming this world messy. You got a messy environment around you. And that energy is rubbing off on your children, on your daughters. Yes, it's rubbing off on them. They picking up that energy. They picking up that conditioning from their environment. Look in the mirror. Do the work. Help yourself. Some of us are not aware we even operating in this type of stuff because your environment, all y'all do the same thing in the same. I get that. I'm not here to condemn you. Grow up. Okay? I'm here to convict you. Grow up. If you got to change your circle, change your environment, do that. And I guarantee you, when you start working on yourself anyway, all that dead weight gonna fall off anyway. Because they're gonna be like, oh, you acting funny. You don't come around. Why you talking like that? What are you saying? You gonna sound foreign to them anyway once you start growing up, once you start maturing, once you start pouring into yourself, figuring out ways to pour into yourself, working on those deficiencies, working on those insecurities. The people gonna fall off anyway. That's the message for today. God bless y'all. God bless y'all. I see y'all in the next upload.